I was declared clinically dead for 2 minutes and 14 seconds. They said my heart stopped during the operation, just a complication, nothing they hadn't seen before, according to the surgeons. But when I woke up, I didn't care about the statistics. I knew something had gone wrong, because I didn't go anywhere peaceful. There was no tunnel, no light, no warm embrace, just awareness, to a sudden and overwhelming awareness that I was somewhere else. It was like being pulled underwater, but there was no water, just a crushing silence, like the universe had muted itself. I couldn't feel my body, not in the way you normally do. I had no sense of touch, no limbs, no heartbeat. But I was there, conscious and thinking, and I wasn't alone. Something was watching me. I don't know how to describe it other than the feeling you get when you sense a stranger staring at you on a train. But this was deeper, ancient. It didn't feel like it just found me. It felt like it had been waiting. And then the whispering started. It wasn't in any language I knew. It wasn't even sound, really. It was like thoughts that weren't mine being forced into my head. Fragmented things, repetitive chants, laughing, crying, screaming, all of it at once. My mind was being filled past capacity, like someone was pouring boiling water into a cup already brimming. And worst of all, I couldn't scream. I wanted to. I tried, but I had no mouth and no lungs. I thought, so this is what death is like. Endless silence and endless madness. Then came the shadows. They weren't shapes at first, just movement in the nothing. They slid along the edges of wherever I was, curling in and out of view like eels made of ink. But they were watching me. Hundreds of them. They didn't speak. They just waited. One of them came closer. It moved like smoke but cast no shadow. Its form wasn't fixed. A mass of features human and not. Its face changed constantly, like it was cycling through every person who had ever died. I saw my own face. My mother's, my childhood teachers, faces I didn't recognize. And then it reached for me. I felt it touch me, not physically but spiritually, like it pressed a cold, wet finger against my very existence. And that's when I knew something terrible. This place, it wasn't the afterlife. It was something worse, a waiting room. And it wasn't meant for me. Not yet. Because just as that thing began pulling me deeper, dragging my awareness into something so vast and black I can't even describe it, I came back, gasped, cuffed. My body shook under the defibrillator. They said, "We got you back." I wanted to tell them, "You didn't get me back in time." Some part of me is still there. I don't sleep much now. When I do, I dream of the whispering, of the faces, of the hand reaching for me. And sometimes, I think I hear it, that voice calling me back. I've been an outdoors guy my whole life. Camping, hiking, fishing, I grew up with it. It's where I've always felt most at peace. Last month, I went on a trip with 3 buddies from college. We picked a remote site in a national forest, hours from any real town. No cell service, no noise but the wind through the pines. The first night was perfect. We made a huge fire, cooked sausages on sticks, told stupid stories until the stars came out in thick, brilliant clusters. By midnight, we were all half asleep, bellies full, the coals glowing down to orange crumbs. We each crawled into our tents and passed out. I don't know what time it was when I woke up. It felt like the middle of the night, that deep black silence you only get far from cities. At first, I didn't know why I was awake. Then I heard it. Soft crunching outside. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. I figured maybe one of the guys had gotten up to pee. I listened for a zipper, a cough, anything. But it just kept moving, circling around the tents. Then it stopped, right outside mine. I held my breath, straining to hear. The silence was huge, pressing on my eardrums. Then the tent fabric rustled. Something was pushing against it from the outside, testing it. I was about to whisper, "Cut it out, guys," when I felt a hand press down on my shoulder through the nylon. It was cold, freezing, like ice straight from the cooler. The hand slid off, and I heard the zipper of my tent start to peel open. I didn't move, didn't breathe, just stared into the dark. A shape crawled inside. I felt the weight settle next to me. Then it pressed against my back, breath rattling in shallow, hitching gasps. I could feel bones under thin skin, knees and elbows sharp as rocks. I whispered, terrified, trying to keep my voice steady. "Can't sleep either, huh?" No answer, just that cold, stuttering breath. Eventually, exhaustion won. I must have drifted off for a while, because next thing I knew, it was gray outside, birds chirping. I was alone. The sleeping bag was zipped up tight, like it had never been opened. My friends were already by the fire pit, laughing about burning the last of the coffee. I forced myself to laugh along, pretending nothing was wrong. But when I went to shake out my bag, something small rolled out onto the ground. A tiny, grayish fingertip, shriveled like it had been frozen. That whole day, I couldn't stop scanning the trees. Every rustle made my stomach twist. That night, I insisted we all sleep by the fire, in our bags under the open sky. The guys thought I was being dramatic, but humored me. I didn't sleep at all. I just watched the tree line, trying to catch any hint of movement. When we packed up the next morning, I found prints circling our campsite, not boots. Bare feet, long, narrow, with deep gouges where claws dug into the soft earth. They led from my tent around the others and disappeared into the woods. I haven't been camping since. Sometimes, in the early hours before dawn, I wake up with that same ice-cold weight pressed against my back. I lie there, eyes squeezed shut, waiting for it to leave. I used to think madness was something you could see coming, that it would arrive like a storm on the horizon, but I was wrong. It's quieter, slips in through tiny cracks in your mind, until one day you look around and nothing feels quite right anymore. It started small. I'd misplaced things, my wallet, keys, once even the coffee table. I found it in the hallway, like someone had dragged it there. I assumed it was me, not sleeping well, maybe moving it during some half-awake cleaning spell. Then I started hearing voices, not whispers behind doors or ghostly wails, just my own voice, echoing through rooms I knew were empty. Sometimes I'd hear myself humming in the shower, only to step inside and find the steam cold, the tub dry. I told myself it was stress. My job was demanding, my apartment always a mess. Then came the colors. Walls would ripple, like a film of oil on water, shifting between dull gray and a bruised violet. Once, my bedroom ceiling bloomed with dark red veins that pulsed in time with my heartbeat. I lay on the bed, breath caught in my throat, watching them throb, unable to move. When I finally blinked, they were gone. Just paint, slightly cracked, same as always. It got worse. People at work began staring at me too long, their faces twisted, eyes too large, mouths stretching into strained, almost pitying smiles. One afternoon, my manager pulled me into her office. She asked if I was okay, said I'd sent the same email 6 times, each version more frantic, almost unreadable. I didn't remember writing them at all. When I left her office, I noticed tiny words scrawled across my arms, in my own handwriting, little notes. Focus on what's real. Don't trust the colors. If they smile too wide, leave. Sometimes I think I'm getting better. I'll have whole days that feel normal. I'll run errands, pay bills, cook dinner, then something small shatters it. Like last week, I was chopping vegetables when the cutting board started breathing. Slow, shallow inhales that lifted the carrot slices. I watched it for a full minute, paralyzed. When I finally dropped the knife and backed away, it was just wood again. I've tried therapy, but sometimes I can't tell if my therapist is real. Her office smells like burnt plastic, and the clock on the wall runs backward. She nods so sympathetically it feels rehearsed. Once, I caught my reflection in her glasses, and it wasn't me. It was someone else. Hollow eyes, mouth stitched shut. The scariest part isn't seeing things. It's when I realize I've slipped again. Last night I was standing in my kitchen drinking tea. I remember thinking how peaceful it was, how I finally felt calm. Then I noticed I was still wearing my work badge, the one they took when they fired me months ago. The apartment looked wrong. The walls were too close, the windows just black voids. When I set the mug down, it passed straight through the counter and shattered on the floor. I tried to scream, but no sound came out, just a weird, wet laugh. Then I was back in my living room, sitting on the couch, television playing static. Now I don't know what's real at all. Sometimes I write these things down, hoping that if I read them later, I'll see how ridiculous they are. That I'll find typos, shaky letters, proof it was all in my head. But the notes are always neat, calm, almost mocking. Right now, I think I'm talking to you, telling you this story, hoping for comfort or understanding. But I'm terrified that when I blink, you won't be here at all. Just another empty room. Or worse, you'll still be here, smiling too wide, eyes too big, waiting for me to figure it out. And maybe when I finally do, it'll be too late to ever come back. If there even is a back to come to.